Hey, Country Boy Modding fans, how you doing today? We're going to start some tutorials on modding, editing, and basics is where we're going to start. So that way, anybody that's new that is wanting to either get into modding, get into editing, get into customizing something to make it their own, they're welcome to do so. And they are going to be hopefully a lot easier learning than I was. So let's jump right in and get our heads on the roll and go over a few things here. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into programs needed to do modding, editing, and customizations. Alright, so first off, we're going to need Giants Editor. There's nothing you do in as far as editing a mod or making a mod or even customizing a mod um, outside of what is already available and set by the original creator, whether it be me or anybody else, that can be done without Giants Editor. Depending on the program or the game version that you're using, whether it be 19 or 22, um, they both use two different GEs. I have heard that the newest GE can be used for 19. I have not yet tried it myself, so I don't know for certain how good that works out, or if there's any advantages to it. So, like in my personal case, I have plenty of storage on my computer, so I have both versions because I still do edits and modding, and I'm also working on doing some converts of our current um, FS19 releases. And in my opinion, I have a way that works a little bit better than most of the tutorials that's been put out for converting. I won't say that 100% of my way is better, but at least a small portion I believe is. But each to their own opinion, correct? Anyhow, let's get into it. Version 9.0.2 is for Farming Simulator 22. If you're doing edits for Farming Simulator 22, that is what you will need. Most people will tell you that um, converts as well, you will also need 9.0.2, but in my way, you kind of need both. But in a future video, we will show you why I use both and why I think it is easier and better personally. But again, each to their own. Um, Farming Simulator 19, you will need version 8.2.2. That is the best and most guaranteed functionable Giants editor for FS19. Not saying that the newer version doesn't possibly have some advantages. I again do not know. Next thing you will need if you're doing any sort of XML, ModSec, or potential in the future LUA edits, which I would advise unless you know how to script an LUA really good, don't mess with them. I've rewrote a couple of LUAs because I have a background in computer repair and computer programming. Um, and so, for example, the um, Simple IC from 2019, I was able to rewrite the LUA to incorporate it into a mod so that way you didn't have to have the Simple IC mod and my mod, for example. That doesn't make me any better than anybody else. It just is an advantage I had that I was able to take and put to use. 7-Zip. That is a file extracting program which you will need in order to edit a mod. A mod is already in a zip folder, Now, there are multiple ways that people zip mods. If it is I apologize, my phone is going off. If it is a mod pack, it could be zipped with other zip folders inside of it. And the reason for that is if you upload each individual mod zipped, then you have to download then the person that wants to use those mods has to download each and individual mod. Where if you put those zip folders inside of another zip, then it allows a person to download one file and get all the mods in one. But in this case, we're not going down that road quite yet. We're going to go down the road of we're dealing with a single individual mod, which is in a zip folder and working correctly. Um, Now, the mod that we're going to view here in a little bit is not 100% ready to go, but it is a mod that is converted, but not ready for full use in game yet. But it's the mod that I'm going to use as an example for part of this tutorial. WinRAR, that is another program. Now, you do not need WinRAR and 7-Zip. You can download one or the other. Personally, I find 7-Zip a little more simplistic. WinRAR, in my opinion, is a little more complex, especially for somebody that isn't tech savvy, computer savvy, however you want to look at it. Um, Now, there is a paid version and a free version. The free version is literally all you need as far as WinRAR is concerned. As far as 7-Zip, I believe every single version is free. Um, I would recommend because 99% of you, especially if you're dealing with FS22 mods and mostly um, FS19 as well, most computers that are capable of both of those games are on a 64 bit based processor. So 99.9% of the chance, 64 bit is what you're going to want. Um, as far as WinRAR, I believe both are incorporated in one, and then it installs the correct one when you install it into your computer. Again, I personally believe WinRAR is a little more complex for a beginner. So I would personally say 7-Zip would be the one that you would want to go for. If you're more computer savvy and you have used WinRAR before, by all means, go right ahead. So those are the programs we're going to need at least to get the basic start into, let's say, changing a wheel. Let's say adding a headache rack. Let's say um, adding a plow mount. Anything that you're going to add, change, or swap from one mod to another. Those are the basic programs you're going to need. Blender you won't need at least until the point to where you're either really advanced and you want to create a model for an edit of a vehicle or of a building or whatever that you can't find the model for, or that you just rather build the model for yourself because you can't find one that fits your standard of quality. So we're going to exclude Blender out of this tutorial whatsoever. We're looking at this from a beginner standpoint that, for lack of better words, you know nothing. Um, so these are your basic demanding programs that you will need. Again, Giants Editor. I will leave the link to each and every single one of these items down in the description, and you will be able to go and download them yourselves. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to leave them in the comment section. At this point, I don't have a lot of subscribers. I will try my best to answer each and every single question that is asked in the comments. I will try to respond to each and every single person that um, I see comment. Um, I'm not glued to my phone or my computer, so I won't say that I guaranteed will, but I will do my best too. I will spend sometimes, 3 to 5 minutes going over and looking to see who has commented, and I will respond to them. There have been people that have commented on the previous two videos, and you're more than welcome to go back and look, and I have responded. And I will continue to try to respond to every single person that I can with questions. If you have any further detailed questions or if you would like some personal lessons, you're more than welcome to contact me through the uh, group page, and we will work something out and get it set up so that way we can do some one-on-one with you. Again, 7-zip. Let's re let's re-go over these one last time because, of course, I kind of went off on a tangent. Giant Setter, Notepad++, 7-zip, and WinRAR or WinRAR. Again, I would highly suggest if you're not very computer savvy, 7-zip. Alright, that's it as far as programs are concerned. We will not go over any other further programs at this point in time. Alright, so we're going to jump into GE here, and we're going to show you a few settings that the first thing you need to do when you download, you need to go in and change these couple of settings because they will help you in the future. They will help you currently, especially when you're trying to export an item from one mod to import it to another. And especially if you want your mod to be able to show up in GE so that way you can actually do something with it. So we're going to go down here to File, Preferences, and we're going to click on Preferences. When you first install GE, um, this scale is automatically set to 100. Now, if you notice up here, it says save and export as Wavefront OBJ. Okay, now what it says is it's for if you're exporting something to be able to export it in an OBJ file so that way you can put it in Blender. From my experience, at least in the Giant Setter from 2019, is this applies and does work on ID3s that you're exporting to use in another mod to be able to say edit in a headache rack for example into GE. It does export it 100 times the size as well. Whether 22 does or not, I don't know. I've developed a pathway or a method that it doesn't make any difference to me. I know how to export and everything to where I don't have issues. But for the beginner, this is something that I highly strongly suggest you change because when you do get into, or if you do get into, exporting things to be able to take them back into Blender, this is absolutely necessary or you will need to rescale, fight, and pull your hair out to get the item back in the same mod and look correctly. So let's just change it now, right off the bat. That way, future down the road, you have no issues. Next thing you're going to do, you're going to make sure that when you install GE, that it installs and it shows the correct file path of FS22 in this case. If you're downloading the GE for FS19, you're going to make sure that it is locating to where you installed your farming simulator program. Now, In this case, mine is not on my main drive, which I use in my computer. It is actually on a secondary drive that I have on my computer, which is labeled directory D. My main is listed as directory C, which generally on most computers that's what it's labeled, not all. So it depends on how they're set up. But in the average case, C is generally your main drive. In this case, my Farming Simulator program for the game is actually installed on this D drive as well as I installed GE on this D drive. So it automatically set to the correct path. I don't have to change that. But if I did, we would go here and let's see, we would go into the D drive. We would find Farming Simulator 22 and select folder. Whoops, pardon me. Uh, Let me go back here 1 second. Because I goofed it. There we go. Is that correct? No, that's not correct either. What in the world? There we go. Okay. And then we click apply and close. Alright. So as far as the basic items with GE, that is absolutely the two necessity things that I see the most questions about. I see the most issues with as far as being able to view a model, being able to um, export things correctly, and we will go into further detail on exporting items in a future video. So, for now, we're just going to click no because we aren't doing anything in there right this moment. The next thing that I see most commonly is people asking why their mods are not showing up in GE. Or they'll ask why they see nothing in GE. In this example, and we'll go back here, as you see this folder is zipped, which is where 7-zip comes in, and we'll show you here in a minute. But if you click on the ID3 of this mod, which is a Super Duty folder in this current state, there's absolutely nothing that shows up. And we'll show you the reason of that here in a minute. What we really need to do is we need to right click, and there's two ways you can do this, at least with my setup, being on Windows 11 and also having 7-zip programmed. I can either do an extract all using Windows, or I can go in and use my 7-zip folder. And what we're going to do is we're just going to do an extract files, and I already have it set up to extract wherever the folder is that I'm extracting from. So in this case, we're going to go OK, and right there is our mod. So at this point, technically, you could get rid of this. However, I suggest until you are 100% confirmed that the mod is working and correct, you save this in case you need to re-export to re-edit. So now if we click on that, click on the Super Duty, and open it and give it just a couple seconds. There we go. Now we have our truck. Now, that's literally as simple as it is to get your model to show up in GE. Now, in this case, the wheels are either missing or in a separate folder or missing shaders, which that's not a big deal, but we'll get into that here probably in either the next or two videos from now. So what we're going to do is we're going to show some simple things with GE that for me were very complex to learn because I had somebody helping me with things, but there were certain things that I had to learn on my own, which, in my opinion, helped me grow so much faster and better because I had to learn them on my own. I had to struggle to learn them on my own. So I'm not faulting the person that did help me. Actually, rather, I appreciate the fact that they made me fight to learn what I do now because personally, it made me respect my work more. It made me appreciate my work more, and it made me really want to make everything that I did as good a quality as I possibly could. That's just how it affected me. Okay, so in most computer programs, for the people that are tech savvy, pardon me, are tech savvy and or are not tech savvy, left click is generally your go-to. Well, GE is kind of backwards from that in some of the aspects. Like if I want to click on this, yes, it's a left click. That selects the item that I want. However, oops, however, if I want to move in GE and I left click, all it does is gives me this box, which selects some things, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to say see on the other side of the truck. Well, how in the world am I going to do that? Aha. This is where we're going to figure this out. Or better yet, where I'm going to help you figure this out so you don't deal with the same headaches I did. All right. So when I first began, did it the hard way. You scroll in, you right click, you can move right to left, up and down, and then I would do this happy joy thing of scrolling in, then backing out while turning and doing all this happy garbage using the right mouse click to turn side to side or go up and down. But then I would also use the scroll wheel to go in and go out. And I'm going to tell you, it would take me sometimes an hour to do a wheel swap doing it that way. And it was a total pain in the butt. Well, let me save you some grief. Because it's something that wasn't taught to me. Something that I didn't know how to look up in GE to find out how to make it work. But we're going to show you, and we're going to make it so that way you're not stressing like I did. And hopefully be able to maybe one day be as good or better than Country Boy Modding. Who knows? Hey, we all have goals, right? Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to left click. We're going to use the WSD keys. And that helps us move. We can move anywhere on this truck, even inside. And we're not stressing ourselves to get where we need to go. So say we're working on putting this wheel on. Oh, now we got to go put on the wheels on the right hand side. Bam, we're right there. We're doing it my way, the original hard way. Yeah, we're still there, but not quite as fast. And I'm going to tell you, it's a huge time saver, especially if you got to go here, then back here again. And you see what I'm saying? By the time you get back there, well, now you're all out of cattywampus. So this way, you just turn to the side a little bit. You hit the A key. It takes you to the left. Bam, you're right there, and you haven't went up or down any. All you did was just went sideways. So I'm telling you, firsthand, WSD and right click is definitely the way to go as far as maneuvering in GE. Now, there are a ton of hotkeys that are used for GE, or that can be used for GE rather. I personally hardly use any of them. Reason being is I've grown accustomed to doing things a certain way that personally I think using hotkeys and retraining myself would be a disadvantage to me because I would have to kind of relearn them every time until I finally grasped a hold of, hey, bam, automatically it's second nature. This key does this, this key does this. Personally, I've gotten to a point where I can do it so fast it's just not worth my time learning hotkeys. um, so anyhow, I'm going to show you how to find those hotkeys because again, this is where something that I would, if I would have known at the beginning, I would have been able to teach myself these hotkeys, and I would already know probably most or all of it by now. So anyhow, we're going to go back into the preferences. We're going to hit shortcuts. And there's a whole bunch of shortcuts over here that you can use. Some of them I know what they are, some of them I don't. Some of them I think I know what they are, but I'm not 100% sure. Um, as far as, like, for example, this interactive emplacement, I kind of know what it does, but I haven't really figured out how to really utilize it. So personally, it's not an advantage to me. Um, but there's definitely a advantage if you want to learn all of them. Go right ahead, be my guest. If you don't, that's up to you as well. Um, so what we're gonna do is, instead of making this just a how to use GE tutorial, per se, as in just getting the basic functions and whatever, we're gonna show you how to do a couple things so that way when you do your first edit, you at least have a couple of steps um, to help get you started. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to go in here. We're going to go to this headache rack. And this is also where changing the scale comes in handy. At least, again, for sure, with the FS19 GE editor, I'm not 100% certain the FS22 does it. I automatically went in and changed that right off the rip. So I never experienced if it does it like the 19 editor did as well. So I don't know. But changing that will definitely for sure guarantee that it saves our butt. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to copy here. We're going to bring this down here. I need to click paste here. All right. So we're going to say that this headache rack doesn't exist. We brought us in a new headache rack, which, holy smokes, where in the world is it? All right. It's right here. Now, the reason it moved is one, because if you look here on this one, these translates are not um, on 0, which if they were, they would be down where this one originally was. GE automatically kicks everything to the 0 point. Also, the scale is not zeroed. That is another thing that GE will automatically try to kick it to is a 0 scale. Luckily, this time it didn't because we just copied from the same mod and we didn't export it out of GE to import it into another GE for another mod. So keep that in mind. So anyhow, what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to pretend that other one wasn't there. And we're bringing this in. So now, let's go ahead and pretend we imported this. And normally your scale would be at 1, 1, and 1. And then this will bring it down to a 0, a 0. Alright, now if you see, it went back hiding again in the area where we don't want it. So now what we're going to do is use these little arrows and we're going to pull it up to where we want. Now, we could live with that, But in my opinion, that looks more like it would be something for a mini truck, for example. So what we're going to do is we're going to scale the X and, pardon me, and the Y. Oops. All right. So let's say that that's what we're happy with. But I think it could use being moved forward just a little bit. Now, here's where it comes in. There's a few different ways to do it, and I have not seen a YouTube tutorial that goes into this detail and helps understand these things or helps prevent issues. So we're going to go into that detail and show these issues for one, and we're going to show how to not have these issues. So what we're going to do is with our um, item selected down here, we're going to do a copy. Now, what we're also going to do is we're going to go here to options, and we're going to go into the same area where the headache rack already was. So we're just going to do a paste. Oh, but wait a minute. No, it's not where we wanted it. So we're going to show you the proper way to do it so that way you don't have these issues. So we're just going to hit the back key, and that's going to get rid of it. What we're going to do is we're going to select that item. We're going to wheel mouse click. We're going to drag and drop. As you see, that is exactly where we wanted it, and it stayed perfectly where it was. So there's a whole boatload more things that I could teach you and show you, but that's also going to make it a who knows how many hour long video, and I know you don't want to watch that much, so we're going to cut it off here. Go ahead and leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Modding's not hard, it can be made easy with the right guidance, and we will help you get there. But for anybody that wants any extra help, we will be offering one-on-one classes and any help that we can help with. You're more than welcome to either leave a comment below or contact us directly on the Facebook modding page, or you're also welcome to contact Country Boy Modding profile, which you will be able to find as an admin in the group, and I will be more than happy to try and help you out, and we will either get something set up for one-on-one classes, um, or we will get something discussed as to, hey, I'm having a problem with this. Is there a way I could fix it? And I will do my absolute best to help you potentially fix that. If it's something that you need or want me to do, you need to contact me through a private message, and we will discuss what can be done to potentially get that item fixed or changed or modified or edited, or who knows, potentially maybe even a build made. So with that being said, again, modding doesn't have to be difficult. We will be doing some live modding here soon and let you guys kind of see a little more of the in-depth, but we won't be doing so much of the in-depth step-by-step stuff because it'll make everything take 10 times longer. I know 15 minutes is about the average span life for somebody's wanting to watch on YouTube. So we're going to try and keep everything within about 15 to 20 minutes ish. Maybe a little bit longer on some things. There are some things that I personally believe need more in-depth details, and I will do my best to make sure that all those details are covered so that way people aren't having a hard time. People that are wanting to get into modding are able to grow and learn at a fairly easy manner instead of scratching your head, pulling your hair, getting frustrated, and wanting to give up on it. It doesn't have to be difficult, and we're going to try to do our best to make it not difficult. Thank you. Like, subscribe, comment below. Leave any suggestions you have in the comment section below, and we will do our best to potentially make those suggestions come to fruition. Y'all have a great day. God bless.